Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us and welcome to Zumiez Stand Up and Vote. Your voice and your vote matter. A series of conversations about issues that matter to you and your community. Today, we are focusing on the issues surrounding the LGBTQIA plus skate community, and we'll have a conversation about how your voice and your vote impact those issues. My name is Hang, Zumiez district manager out in the Metro Los Angeles area, and I'll be your host today. Today, we're going to be talking about the LGBTQIA plus skate community with a pretty awesome group. We'll be watching skate clips, talking about personal experiences and the issues that impact our communities and why voting matters. We'll also be listening to some of the voicemails you left earlier this week and answering some of your questions. Please drop your questions in the Twitch chat throughout the live stream. We will have time towards the end of this discussion to address as many as we can. I want to now welcome our special guests. We're stoked to have Alexis Sablone from Converse Cons, who prefer the pronouns she and her. Also joining us is Breana Geering with Vans Skate, who also prefers the pronouns she and her. Before we get right into it, let's take a moment and watch these ladies skate. Welcome, Alexis. Thank you for being here. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
It's good to be here. My name is Alexis Sablone, and I'm a pro skateboarder. Like you said, I skate for Converse Cons, and I live in Brooklyn, New York, and yeah, I'm just happy you guys are doing this and happy I get to be a part of it. So thank you.
Well, thank you, Alexis. All right, Breana, your turn. All right, welcome, Breana. Thank you for joining us today. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hey, I'm Breana, and I'm a skater based in Vancouver, Canada. Ride for Vans, and I'm here talking to you guys today.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Glad to have you both here. We have a lot to talk about today. I'm excited. So let's get this conversation going. First off, we're going to be talking about issues facing the LGBTQIA plus skate community, how it's important to be able to do what you love and be able to freely express who you are. Along with that, we'll be talking about the importance of voting and how your vote matters more than ever. But before getting into that, I want to share my personal experience with everyone, the challenges I've faced. Hopefully you can relate. I grew up in a strict Vietnamese household. My parents always wanted what was best for me, but truly, I was always afraid to be me, afraid to speak the truth, afraid to express my feelings without feeling rejected or disowned or having to be fixed in some sort of way. So what was your guys' experience like coming out? When did you feel this is it? Fuck it. I'm just going to tell the whole world who I am, and I really don't care about what other people think of me. Breana?
I grew up in a pretty strict household as well. My family's very Christian, and I have like 5 siblings, and I'm the only one that's gay out of all of them, and I'm the youngest. So like, I didn't get to like really dive into that and like that sort of community until I moved out of my parents' house and like started doing my own thing.
Yeah, absolutely. What about you, Alexis?
Um, I mean, I grew up with my mom, and she was really not that strict, and she really gave me a lot of freedom, and is, you know, a really accepting person. But despite that, I think, I don't know, I felt similar to, I felt like I expressed myself and was myself in so many ways, but when it came to coming out and my sexuality, I think it took me a lot longer. I came out when I was 18, and I think it was something that, I had in my own head had a dialogue about since I was like 8 years old, but I think that growing up, with some assumption that you're straight, because that's what is assumed, or that's what's, like realizing that you're different, or that you're feeling something else, or maybe, that just takes a lot of, maybe for some people, for me, it took time to, figure that out and to be okay with it. And I think I waited till I was 18 and in college, and I moved away, and it just felt, suddenly I like admitted it to myself. And once that happened, I, felt like this weight was lifted off of me, really.
Absolutely. And thank you for sharing that. I'm sure everyone part of the community have been through this journey. And over the years, the LGBTQIA plus skate community has been fighting for equality and unity. And I'm sure there's still a lot of work to be done. So as members of the LGBTQIA skate community, what issues matter the most to you, Alexis?
I mean, I think I've always believed, for me, skateboarding has been a place where I always, in the best of circumstances, I always just feel like I'm a skater. It's not that I'm a girl skater. It's not that I'm a queer skater. It's like what you have in common is that you're skateboarders, and skateboarding is for everyone. And I just really believe that, skateboarding, like, can hold all of that. Like, it's this thing for, it's maybe some jock skate, but it's not for jocks. It's not for only straight people. It's for people of every color, every gender, every, however you identify. It's like skateboarding is a way to express yourself and have a positive community. And so I think I really believe that that's what it can be and should be. So, yeah.
Absolutely. What about you, Breana?
No, I feel like I have to agree with Alexis. I think it's really just meant to be an open space for anybody. And I feel like it draws a lot of people that don't necessarily fit into like the normalcy of like our society, I guess.
Oh, absolutely. And these issues are so important. I mean, at the end of the day, like Alexa said, what we all have in common is the love for skateboarding, right? It holds us together. And these issues are just so important to talk about unity. They can be super overwhelming at times as well. And one of the best actions to take is to get out and vote in local and national elections. So, Breana, why is it important for young people to vote?
Because they're the next generation, and they have the most like power to change what's going to happen in the next 20 years. And if they don't vote, it's just going to stay the same. You're going to get more Trumps, and the cycle's just going to keep going the way it is. Like you have to do it for yourselves and for the next generation too.
I absolutely agree. Alexis, what about you? Why is it so important for young people to vote?
Because we, in its ideal, a democracy is, we're lucky to live in a democracy, but in order for it to work and for, the government to represent the people, it's like exercising your right to vote that's like the freedom, that's the power we have to have our voices heard. And I get that it's it's hard to wrap your head around, like, how can how can just my vote make an impact? But, if everybody thought that way, it would, you know, it wouldn't stand for us all. So it's really important to exercise your right to vote and stand up for the things you believe in hopes that, you know, the country as a whole will, you know, protect you and recognize all different types of people and their rights and the equality that, across the board should be there.
Yeah. So, I mean, everyone, please get registered to vote. Your vote has influence. This year, for the first time in history, young people will account for 37% of the voting population. Your vote counts. And most importantly, your voice matters. And speaking of voice, let's hear from some of you. Earlier this week, we invited you all to call in and leave us a voicemail to tell us about your experience as a member of the LGBTQIA plus skate community and ask questions about how to support and empower the community. Well, we listened, and we want to thank everyone who called. We're going to listen to a few of your stories now. Hit the first voicemail.
I honestly deal with a lot of homophobia with straight skaters. I usually deal with it by trying to ignore it and just showing off my skills to them. I don't understand why they don't take me seriously as a skater, because it really doesn't make a difference what my sexual orientation or gender identity is. But and also being a girl who is bisexual, I get a lot of comments saying that, I'm not as good as regular people. Some questions I have is anybody else dealing with this? I mean, I used to think it was like stupid. I mean, who cares? But like after going to skate parks and dealing with homophobia, that's I don't know if it's normal, common, because usually the skate park is where I would feel safe. I also have questions for other LGBTQIA plus skaters. Are y'all cool? Are y'all okay during these times? That's about it. But if this gets on the Twitch stream, what's up? Love y'all. Have fun. Don't get hurt. Stay safe. Mwah.
Well, so this individual talked about the struggles they faced in the skate community. Alexis, do you ever deal with the challenges this person's talking about?
I mean, personally, I when I was growing up, there really weren't any skate parks around me, and I was mostly skating alone. When I was skating with other people, I didn't even see another girl skater until I was an adult. Like, it was really, but I think that's, I think what she was saying about trying to ignore it, and I mean, I would hope, if, like, I believe in skateboarders and the skateboard community, and I would hope that, anyone saying stuff like that is, homophobic or scared or just kind of like, I would hope that there would be support around her, or around that there's not just like, if there are people saying things like that there are other people, other skaters that are brave enough to stand up. And so it's, sometimes it can be intimidating if you're one person and there's a group of people saying stuff to you, and it would, I would say just let it roll off of you. But I know that the reality is that that's easier said than done. When people say bad things to you about you, it's, even if it's not true and you don't want to let it, you don't want it to let it get to you, it can, those words stick and it's hurtful, but you just have to persevere and know, like, deep down, whether or not people are, coming in support of you, which they should, that you're a skateboarder too, you have every right to be there skating. And really it's the experiences, you just have to grow from that, and hopefully those people as they grow up are gonna like learn from their ways and eventually really look back and regret that, because that's not what skateboarding's about. That's not something you should ever, make someone else feel. So yeah, just keep your head up, stay positive, be yourself. Don't let anyone else make that about that, Yeah.
And Breana, what are your thoughts? I mean, do you ever deal with these challenges?
I can't say that I have personally, but I know people that have, and I know that they exist out there. And what I would say is, you are so valid, and your own sexuality is so valid, and anybody that is threatened by that is extremely fragile, and they're just scared of living in a world that they don't own and they can't run and they can't control. So you just have to surround yourself with good people that love you for you. And I don't know.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So let me ask you another question here, Breana. What are you doing in your community to influence those that are not familiar with the LGBTQIA plus skate culture?
I don't know.
I mean, we're doing things like this, like any opportunity to get to
sharing my own experiences and like letting people know that there's so many others out there just like them that are going through the same thing, or like are living in the same world. And there's brands like Unity and their skateboards and those things that you can like follow and support, and it's like a whole group of people to look up to, and they're doing all the right things for the skate community in that sense.
Absolutely. Alexis, anything you want to add there? What are you doing in the community to influence the others?
Yeah, I guess just any, skateboarding's given me a platform and opportunities like this. And whenever I have that opportunity to share some of my own experiences, like I think that, I had a lot of skate role models growing up, but not necessarily in this way. No one was talking about being queer and skateboarding really like when I was growing up. And I think that sometimes, it's easy as you get older to forget like how much of an impact though, like when someone older that has other experiences is willing to like share, tell you about them or talk to you about them, it just like sticks with you, because it's empowering to know, just to learn from other people and hear what they went through and their hardships, and everyone's story is unique. So I think just, yeah, trying to like have a voice in that way. And then day to day, yeah, it's funny because like when I was younger, I never would have gone up to an older skater and been like, do you have anything like advice? Or, I would have been way too shy. I still am shy to this day, but being on the other side of that, like being the older pro skater, it's like, this is, we're all just people, we're all skateboarders. And, if like having that conversation, it's okay to have that conversation. If you feel like you want to like reach out and talk to like they're your peers, whether they're older than you or not. It's like we're skateboarders, so it's like you can approach people and just like they're your friends, they're your people in one way or another. And so that's like can build a stronger community. So I think just trying to be that person now that I'm in that position the best that I can.
Yeah, absolutely. And we thank you both for using your platform to influence and educate those that are not unfamiliar with, the skate culture or the LGBTQIA skate community. So I appreciate that. So as we move on to the next voicemail, this one's pretty deep. So let's just hit it.
Hey, so my name is Andy, and I'm bisexual, but I am still questioning. But so I found out about my sexuality about like maybe a year ago, and I started skating 2 years ago, and so far I so because like I just learned how to ollie because I don't skate as much, but now I do since like it's summer, we're in quarantine, nothing really to do. And yeah, so ollieing for the first time was really cool. And as bisexual, I think it will be really cool that the LGBTQ community stuff it's spread around the skate community because like it'll accept more people, the community will be bigger, will be more, you know. I think the community will be very um really great with a lot of diversity. Yeah, that's what I think.
Cool. Thank you for that one there. I mean, any feedback, Alexis, Breana, or based off of this emotional message here from this gentleman?
I mean, I think that as much as skateboarding gives to skateboarders, it's like individuals add to skateboarding. It's like by being a diverse group, it's like we make skateboarding rich. It's like if it was just one kind of person skateboarding, well, we wouldn't be here talking about it and it would be boring. So I think just like, yeah, just trying to have these conversations and, be like to build communities and make, people that, however people identify, just aware that there are people like you and there are people that are different than you, but we're all part of skateboarding. Like, I think that that's just like now that we have like all these different social media and it's like we can find each other and we can see like just how vibrant skateboarding is and how many people call themselves skateboarders and are part of this. So I think, yeah, it's happening and it will continue to happen. So.
Absolutely. Breana?
Yeah, so I feel like skateboarding's got a little bit of everyone sprinkled in there, and the greatest thing about skateboarding is that no matter where you go and you meet a skater, it's like you can instantly be their friend. You have something in common, so you gotta just be okay with anyone, however they are, however they identify. Like, it doesn't matter. Above all, we're just skating, doing our thing.
And not just that it doesn't matter, but it makes skateboarding cool. Yeah. That it's like, it's,
yeah. Absolutely. Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that. Now, this last voicemail here is a special one. It is a little bit longer, but let's listen in all the way through.
There's been a lot of challenges I faced for skating. For instance, a couple weeks ago, I had wore, instead of regular grip tape, I used rainbow grip tape, and I carved out LGBTQ. And a straight skater was like, "Why are you here?" I was like, "I like skating." And I had to put up with a broken board. My clothes had gotten ripped. It's also been very hard to just be me out in public, especially for skating, because they're always like, "Oh, skating's for boys, skating's for straight people." Yeah, it's like if you prefer your own gender or anything, you're just like a regular person with issues in their head, as if we're not human. It's also like you're like feared to go out in public to show who you are. God forbid I shave the sides of my head, which I did. I get stared at. I get laughed at. I get stuff thrown at me. I get just a lot. And the only way I put up with it is to continue to be me. And if you are going to stream this on live, I just want to say to all my LGBTQ+, you guys are loved. We're all a big community of supporting, loving people. You guys matter, and we're human. Show who you are. Show all the people who think we're a sin. Show all the people who just know us as a faggot. Show all of them that we're worth it. We're worth what they're worth. Anything in life can become a bigger problem or a bigger dream.
You want to be an LGBTQ model? You want to be a drag queen? Go ahead. Go ahead, sis. Go walk that show. Go show them who you are. Go show them your passion. So therefore, don't let people who don't support you get to you. If they're not there to make you feel like you're better in life or make you feel like you're something, just know that you are loved by the community. You are loved by every single one of us. I swear to you, there is not one day that I've met a gay person that is against gays. There is not one day that I met a lesbian who was against LGBTQ. Why, you may ask? Because we all love each other. No matter what, we are all like a big community of loving, caring people. Yes, some of us may not show who we are. We may not have come out. But you are worth what anybody else is worth.
We thought this message was so powerful that we invited Cheyenne to join in on the conversation and share her perspective. But before we talk to her, we're going to take a quick break and be right back. While you're waiting, please enjoy a preview of Van's love letters to the LGBTQ plus skate community.
It has to do with imagination, it has to do with being open-minded, and it has to do with empathy and trying to put yourself in someone else's shoes.
Exactly. It's about not how you see people, but seeing people for how they want to be seen.
This is how all the kids are doing it.
So, share. The L.
Lesbians.
G.
Gay.
B.
Bi.
T.
Trans.
And Q.
Queer. We should add an R to the end of that. Respect.
And yeah, recognize.
Calling someone a faggot, not cool. Calling a trick gay, not chill. Like,
yeah, just the tone of using these words can totally affect how they are picked up and digested by someone who
is gay.
Who is gay. I brought up to you just if we were doing a word association, and I said queer, and
that could mean so many different things to so many different people, and they're all valid to that person. So like queer to me is something completely different to another trans woman, or like a trans woman of color, or like a gay person, a lesbian, a bisexual person. All everyone has like what that means to them, and all those things are valid.
we're gonna skate in a minute, right?
Right.
You do a backside 5-0 to overcrook, and that was fucking rad.
Exactly. It was not fucking gay.
No, but it could it be fucking gay?
Yes. Be supportive, even if it's like a little bit from afar, and giving people the space, like something as simple as like, you know, just people like at the Unity Queer Skate Days and stuff, like giving people who don't skate all the time a turn, because it's intimidating to like get in the park and like get in the zone, but like creating like a space where they feel okay and comfortable is huge.
Yeah.
And like not being scared, like, you know, something as simple as a hand wave, like you got it, go for it, you know what I mean? Like that's so, you know, and coming from a boy or something, a normal average skater, like means a lot to like a queer person or like girls. Like that's like nice. Just simply being nice.
Yeah, I appreciate being considered an ally, and kind of being a little more than just supportive, in being kind of a visible example
Right.
for other people to see the inclusion, because you know, in all the years that Unity's been doing their queer skate days and here
Right.
and their events here, just the number of people that show up from one to the next one is incredible.
It's insane.
And it wasn't always, you know, there was never anything negative here at
No,
all.
we've
But
never
it
had
also
problems here.
wasn't as inclusive as it could be, and it has become totally, again, from my perspective,
Right,
this seems like such a safe place that we've tried to, you know, just create for everyone.
And that's kind of how it always is over here, though. Like everyone's here just like skateboarding, and it should just be that, you know. It should just be like so support from people just learning how to ride to people learning how to like slappy or do tricks, and then you've got insane people who are doing insane tricks here. It's like the whole spectrum is here. Allies are so important in the way too of just like, yeah, setting a good example for like skaters who have been skaters for a long time to like this new scene, but people don't know like the terminologies and stuff, and it's like allies are so important to get like that message passed along, you know?
There is something key. The reality is both sides of this equation is fear. There's fear on both sides
Right.
of being, you know, in previous conversations that we had in mocking up this whole idea,
Right.
there were words that I was not comfortable
Right.
saying to you over the phone without having a previous conversation about.
Right.
And that is a real fear from the side of an ally or someone who is attempting to be an ally. And the reality is that being open and listening
Right.
and being respectful is easier than you think it is.
Totally.
And I think that is one of the most important things about being an ally, is showing future allies that it is not,
Right.
it's not a complicated equation.
And being okay with not understanding
Yeah.
and just like still being kind.
Exactly. Fuck threat.
Exactly.
Fuck threat.
Threat is no.
Don't.
No.
Hey, don't.
Be dick.
And welcome back. In case you are just joining us, my name is Hang, Zumiez District Manager of LA Metro. I'm here with Alexis, Sablone, and Breana, Geering. We've been discussing issues we're facing in the LGBTQIA plus skate community, as well as discussing the importance of voting during this time. We have a special guest on the line, one of you who called in earlier this week and told Zumiez your story. Thank you for joining us, Cheyenne. Your story is so powerful, and strength you show it proudly being who you are is amazing. Welcome on to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So how long have you been skating?
I would say about a year, maybe a year and a half.
And how did you start?
My brother started like showing me how to like cruise off the board. And then I was like, oh, this is a little fun. So I got me on board.
That's awesome. And so we obviously just heard your voicemail that you sent in. Talk to us a little bit about what made you want to share your personal story.
Well, it all started when I got the message from Zumiez that saying, show your pride, show who you are. And it said, leave a voicemail. So I was like, oh, sure, let's do it. Let's see what people react to. And I ended up getting a text message from Lexi saying, hi, it's Lexi from Zumiez. You could be able to be on the show. And I was like, oh, great.
Yeah, and what you said in that voicemail was definitely powerful. So let's start with Breana. Do you have any advice you have for Cheyenne?
I think that Cheyenne, you already have a really good sense of who you are and what's up, and what you said was awesome. You're definitely like being a leader in that sense, and keep doing what you're doing, killing it.
Thank you.
Awesome. And Alexis, do you have any advice for Cheyenne?
I mean, honestly, same thing. Like Cheyenne, I don't know, you're like half my age, but you're like wise beyond your years. And I loved what you had to say. And I mean, yeah, just the main part of the message that I took away from what you said was just don't let anything like that get you down. You have to be yourself, even in the face of adversity. And it sounds like you're doing that. And I would just say, yeah, keep doing what you're doing. You're, you know, brave and strong, and I don't know, just inspiring. So yeah, good for you.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. And I want to take this opportunity for Alexis and Breana, you know, for you guys to share any advice for all those that are listening at the moment. Alexis, we'll start with you.
I mean, honestly, the thing that really comes to mind is it's kind of echoing what Cheyenne honestly just said in her voicemail. It's like, I mean, yeah, skateboarding's for everybody. You know, you have to, like, being yourself in skateboarding is really, you're doing skateboarding a favor, you know, like if you're different, you know, that just makes skateboarding better, and you have to just listen to yourself and be yourself and express that through skateboarding, or, you know, that's like a gift, you know. And I think that like we've heard, you know, not everyone's nice, not everyone, some people are closed-minded, and they're afraid of what they don't understand, or they're homophobic, and that's, you know, basically that sucks. Like I hope someday we can say that's not the case at all anywhere. But until then, just know that, you know, you're not alone. There are people, whether they're physically around you or just around you in skateboarding, that are part of this community that love what you represent, and they want you to be you. So just do your best to surround yourself with people like that, and just keep being yourself. Yeah.
Thank you, Alexis. And Breana, do you have any advice for everyone listening?
I think Alexis really said what's up, but yeah, just to be yourself. Everybody wants to see diversity, and, you know, I want to see people be themselves. Like, I don't want to see a duplicate of somebody. It's so sick to see somebody just be true to who they are. And you know, you can have a loud voice. You should share that, and you know, that's what's gonna keep the progression in the world changing. And, you know, at a point, it won't always be. This won't even have to be a conversation anymore. It'll just be the way it is.
Absolutely. And lastly, Cheyenne, is there anything else that you would like the audience listening to know? Anything that you want to share?
Sure. Anybody here that skates or like is mainly around people who are homophobic, transphobic, try to let them know that the people that are part of the LGBTQ plus went through a lot with their family coming out public, and it could be very hurtful to just say something to somebody just as simple as, why are you skating? Or it could be as simple as, why are you even here? Why are you trying to be something that you're not? And honestly, skating has no gender. And love who you want to love. Love comes from a long way, and it connects people to make a better person. And you could always be yourself in public. And if you're scared to, just take your time to reboot yourself, let you know who you are. Be comfortable with yourself. It's that simple.
That got me emotional, and thank you, Cheyenne. That was very empowering, and thank you once again for sharing your story and joining the conversation. Well, we'll be right back, guys. Welcome back. We've talked a lot about a lot of important issues today with members of our community. Now it's time for your questions. Drop in your questions in the chat right now. We do have a couple of questions already here. So first question, how do I ask someone what their preferred pronouns are without being insensitive? Alexis, do you want to take that one?
I mean, I guess that I think it depends on if it's a stranger or if it's a friend, or how well you know that person. You kind of have to gauge the situation. But I think that, I think that if your intentions are good and you just want to make sure that you're addressing somebody the way that they would like to be addressed, I think that, you could just ask them, you can just say, ask them, I mean, I think that it's, if you're not, as long as you're not being hateful or aggressive, I think that, you're asking because, you care and you want to know someone's answer. You want to know, you want to make them feel more comfortable, and you want to, refer to them how they want to be referred. So yeah, just talk.
Next question here, Breana, how do you handle all the haters?
I think the best way to handle it generally is to ignore them, because a lot of what they're looking for is a reaction. Even if it's hard, even if they say something super hurtful, generally they just want to like get you fired up. But I know sometimes it's hard not to just like go off on them and tell them to go fuck themselves, which is how you feel, but like it's not always the best way to handle the situation.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll move on to the next one here. So, Alexis, what are some ways straight people can do better to be better allies? I'm sorry.
I mean, I think that if you're a straight person asking that, you're like taking a good step. Just being, embracing diversity, being cool to everyone around you, like wanting to, like being open to stay open to like learning, listen to what, people that aren't like you are saying around you. So if, like hopefully you don't say something that offends anyone. If you do, you have to hear that and you have to accept that and try to change and become better for it, because, but I think that just, that's the first step is asking that question, being aware that there are lots of people in skateboarding. Not everybody is straight, not everybody is like you, and skateboarding's a place for everyone. So you have to make space for them.
Absolutely. And Breana, what have been some of the tools or ways straight people you think can use to learn to become better allies?
Asking questions, but trying not to be too invasive, but asking questions generally about how they can be more supportive.
Yeah.
Don't assume anything.
Absolutely. Don't assume. For sure. Next question here. It looks like this one's for me, actually. What's the most challenging situation you've ever dealt as a district manager of LA Metro? I would say the most difficult or challenging situations is when I was a store manager, actually, because you have more face-to-face interaction with your customers and your clientele. And the biggest thing is, I have my hair short. I dress like a guy. I may walk like one too. And if you're standing from behind, you probably would think that it's a dude, right? As soon as I turn around, my voice is a woman's voice. So I think the biggest or the toughest thing is when, they go into a store and they say he And obviously I refer myself as a she, right? And so I think those are probably one of the toughest situations to be in. And then there's also altercations that you may have with customers and disagreements. And when they are upset with you, they call you names that are hurtful, right? Dyke, faggot, whatever it is to get to you. And I think the piece to solve that is be the bigger person. And, if they are saying those things, they're just being ignorant. And you just got to learn to have thick skin and walk away and move on from that. But it is tough when you're in a public, and you want to be a leader and you want to lead by example. It is sometimes very difficult, but that's a very, very good question. Thank you. So Alexis, I'm gonna move over to you. Who was your favorite skater before you were pro?
Well, I don't know if it changed after I turned pro. I'm not my own favorite skater, but
Skater now.
no, I'm kidding. Honestly, I can't name just one. I have several. Kenny Hughes, Brian Anderson, Donnie Barley. Answering this question, I'm like feeling all the names pass by. I'm like, and that person and that person. So I don't know. I don't have just one, but I remember, when I was little, when I was like 11, I met Kenny Hughes and was the annoying kid that was like, how high can you ollie? How high can you ollie? Like over and over again. And eventually he ollied for me and I was like, yeah, done. I was like, that's my favorite skater, but I don't know. And then Brian Anderson, Donnie Barley, Welcome to Hell was obviously Alyssa's in there. I don't know. It's like, it's funny because I go back and watch old videos and I'm like, even the people I thought I didn't like that were my least favorites, now I'm like, actually that person's like, some days they're my favorite too, it's just kind of like, depends on the day. There's so many skaters who I am inspired by and admire, but Brian Anderson, Donnie Barley, Kenny Hughes. Yeah.
That's awesome. And what about you, Breana?
It's always been Alyssa and Marissa. Those two are the fucking goats forever.
That's awesome. Cool. As we move on to the next question here. So, Alexis, what are some of the issues still affecting the LGBTQIA plus community that we still need to fight for?
I think that, even if this community has gotten more inclusive and more open to talking about these kinds of things than when I first started skating, however many years ago, it's clearly, just from like the voicemails we listen to and it's nothing's perfect. It's far from perfect, and there's still clearly people out there that just think that, there's a straight guy and they think skateboarding's for them, and anyone else on a skateboard, like, what are you doing here? What business do you have on a skateboard? And so I think that, it's still, for whatever reason, some people still have that mentality. And I think that, I don't know if any of those people are listening right now, but maybe not, but I hope they are, because I think just continuing to talk about it, continuing to, stand up for, if you do witness something like that, if you're seeing someone trying to be exclusive or being mean or something like that, and you're witnessing it, like, don't just like, we were already previously were saying sometimes, like, if you're the person being yelled at, you have to be the bigger person and let it roll off of you. But if you're witnessing something like that, maybe it's your place to stand up and tell someone what's up, because there's no room for that, for hatred and homophobia. And I think that, so do your part, stand up for other people when you see something bad happening, and just use your voice.
Awesome. And Breana, as an LGBTQIA plus person, why does my vote matter?
Because don't you want to be represented the way you want to be represented? Like, you got to get your voice in there if you ever want things to, you know, change for you and be better for you. If you just let things slide by, you know, I don't know, it's never gonna, there's not gonna be the equality that we all want and deserve. And we have to fight for it. And it's unfortunate that we do, but we do.
Absolutely. All right, I got one last question for you both here. How are Breezy and Alexis using their standing in skateboarding to help out, and how can the rest of the skate community continue that growth? Who wants to take that?
I mean, not to repeat, you know, I think, I mean, everything that I just described, I guess I just tried to do that myself, use my voice, stand up when I see something that's wrong, encourage other skaters, you know, make people, you know, that maybe are different, make them feel welcome. You know, it's like skateboarding just really, I believe, has room for all of that. And in so many ways, skateboarding is like, you know, it's like there are not that many things where, you know, you see like really good skateboarders, and if there's someone that's just starting, like when they land something that's been a challenge for them, it's like everyone cheers for them. You know, it's like you can, in some ways, skateboarders are so good at you know, seeing someone else's struggles and being proud of them for their accomplishments. And I think that the fact that skateboarding has that ability, I feel like, you know, everyone should be that encouraging in all ways, you know. And so I think personally, I guess I try to do the best I can, do my part to embody that and talk about it. And yeah, I don't know.
Awesome. And Breana, is there anything else you want to add to that?
Yeah. I do actually. We're doing things like this, you know, we're talking about it, we're opening up the conversation and making it normal to, like, you know, ask questions and make it a common topic. But I just wanted to say that the skateboarding community as a whole needs to do more to stand up for the trans people in it. They're constantly swept up under the rug in every aspect of the world. And we talked about, you know, what areas we still need to fight for. And I think that is so vital right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you. All right, guys. Well, I think that's all the time we've got. But before we wrap, I want to ask our guests, Breana and Alexis, one last time. Is there anything else either of you want to say before we close? Any advice you want to offer?
Just be yourselves, keep skating, have fun with it, and I don't know, just thank you guys for having us here and letting us talk about this and for having these conversations. You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we already dished a lot, but I'm stoked to be a part of this, and I hope there's something that everyone can take away from this conversation.
And I personally want to thank the both of you guys, as well as Cheyenne, for hopping on. It's an honor for me to be here and ask you guys all these awesome questions. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in today. Thank you, Alexis, once again, and Breana for sharing your stories and advice. And a huge thank you to Cheyenne for joining us as well. Your voices deserve to be heard. I encourage you all to continue to support and drive positive change in our LGBTQIA skate community. We are all one, and skateboarding is what brings us together. Remember, hate will never win, but love will. I also want to remind you, this is an extremely important year. We need to register to vote and actually show up at all of the polls. Let's make sure we do our part. Educate our peers, demand for our voices to be heard. That's how we create change. Keep listening and keep learning. Don't forget, you can register to vote, learn more, and take action at zumiez.com/standup. Get registered to vote, use your voice, and go vote. Have a good one, guys.